Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Leadership Truth, which is you always have a choice. Now you may not like the choices you have, but you always have a choice. So I was reminded of this, or I wasn't reminded of this, I really became aware of this many years ago when I was working for a consulting firm and I was miserable. I was really miserable. And my husband and I had just bought our first house. And I had really pushed for this house. It was kind of above our pay grade at the time. I was the one who was earning the very big salary at the time, and so had really pushed us to take on this house, which had an extremely large mortgage. And I can remember being in the pit of despair over my job and talking to my coach at the time. And she said to me, and I was talking about how I wanted to start my own business, and that I was feeling strangled because I didn't have choice anymore because of this mortgage that was, kind of throttling. I felt like I was being throttled around the neck by this mortgage. And I remember her saying to me, well, you do have choices. You can sell the house. And I can remember at the time I put up a ton of resistance. I mean, I had all kinds of excuses around it. But the reality was she was right. I mean, that was my choice. I just didn't like the choice. And so I talked to many people in their careers who are very unhappy, and they will tell me they have no choice. They cannot leave because they have financial obligations. That's usually the number one thing I hear about. But meanwhile, they've got 4 cars in the driveway, or they've got a cottage, or they've got, a kid in private school, or all kinds of things. You always have a choice. You're choosing to do something different because that fear, it's the fear that is holding you back from leaning into what you actually want to go for. Okay, so think about that for a second. You will always have a choice. So if you are sitting in a job right now which is making you extremely unhappy, and you've got a million reasons why you can't leave it, I just want to remind you that you can. Now, it took me another close to 7 years before I finally got that message and did make the choice. And yes, we ultimately did sell that house. But you know what? It's all been good. It's all fine. You come out the other side. So if you're struggling right now, just remember the choice is yours. You can make some different decisions. And you know what? We always think about more about what we're going to lose as opposed to what we're going to gain from getting through to the other side. Hope you enjoyed this week's Leadership Truth. I will be back again next week with another one. If you would like to follow us on social, we would love that. And then you can keep in touch with all of the Leadership Truths. And if you like it, please share it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again next week.